Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. This is the America First Pill channel. So I want to talk about Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is a very popular one of the more popular commentators among the conservative podcasting, and he used to be he used to, and he also came back to be a contributor for Fox News. So they'll bring him on to give his takes and stuff on things. And more recently, he left his podcast to initially join the Trump administration in an FBI role, and then not too long ago he stepped down from that position. And Bongino is someone that is good on a lot of issues, okay? And I don't agree with how he's been acting towards Tucker. So, and I'm not saying there are things I don't disagree. I'm not saying at all that that he's not good on a lot of issues that matter. But you have to wonder what's going on with Bongino. And did he sell out? Because even though he still has issues that because I really liked him before he joined the Trump administration. He really was based, and then he joins this, he talked about how we need to release the Epstein file, because Bongino did say, too, that the Epstein file should be released. And then he takes a job with the Trump administration in the FBI role, and then he says that that Epstein never killed himself. So that's where he kind of ticked off a lot of conservatives, because he didn't say what we all thought we knew. And well, he also left. I mean, he left kind of abruptly. So there's, and he's not, and now that he came back to his podcast, it's clear he's definitely not the same guy, in my opinion, that I just don't think he's the same guy that he was before he joined that role. And clearly something happened, and I kind of think he's a little bit of a sellout and kind of been paid off. And usually the ones that accuse others of being paid off are the ones often paid off. So, because oftentimes when they just always accuse someone else, another podcaster, to be, oh, that guy's paid off, usually they're usually being paid off too, or pressured to kind of stay on script. So, and what reason would I have to say this? Well, look at this. I mean, of course, there's people who thought that once Bongino came back, I mean, I think it was silly to think that once Bongino left, he was just going to come back and be based again. No. Instead, since he's been back, he's been kind of attacking certain people on the right for what he calls blackpilling, people who are not trusting the process. And I get it. There's a lot of doomers, people who just cannot just sit and shut up for a minute and just, trust the process before, dooming, you could say, okay. And then you have, also, kind of trying to oust people and tribalize conservatives more by calling out people who want them to give answers on what happened with the Epstein files. And because, he really was part of that. He was kind of part of that group with Bondi. I think it was Bondi's fault ultimately, but it was really part of that group that, the terrible mishandling of the Epstein release. And also with Israel. Yes, Bongino's you consider more of a Zionist. He's very pro-Israel. Yeah, and let's be honest, I'm not really that overly pro-Israel either, but it's certainly should not be the number one identity of someone's view, especially if you're a conservative. It's a foreign policy, it's opinion on a nation. And when were conservatives ever required to have to be pro any country? We should be pro-America first, and that's it. And it seems Bongino, he just released a post calling Tucker Carlson a tool, and particularly his brother. I know, yeah, and Buckley Carlson, that's Tucker's one of his brothers. Yeah, and just because his brother's kind of insane doesn't mean I'm going to take it out on Tucker. I don't believe in collective punishment or guilt. I'm not going to, just because his brother is a little bit more crazy on certain conspiracies and beliefs does not mean I'm going to oust Tucker for that. But there's concern that Tucker Carlson is very inconsistent in a lot of beliefs, a lot of his views on things, and it seems he says one thing now and then a few months later he says something totally different. So I don't know, and I agree Tucker has a lot to explain, but all the people just attacking him never bothered to interview him. I mean, the idea that, and maybe people argue, and with the exception of maybe Steven Crowder that has kind of asked him to come on, there's have to wonder why that hasn't happened. Is Tucker is Tucker too rigid and too ego to kind of have to explain his position to someone who's a little bit harder? I don't know, but all the people, at least Crowder has tried to trying to understand, but everyone else, they just want to attack, and it's like, well, why would Tucker want to talk to that person? You can't really debate a person like that. So he kind of calls Tucker a fraud, and basically, and it's like, I'm just keeping it simple with the whole tweet right now. I don't have my computer right now, but it's like, what is going on here, and what happened to Bongino? Because what I'm concerned about with the factions of the right now is that what you're seeing is you see the faction just doubling down, and it's hardly a faction anymore. It's almost like you have the sides doubling down on how hard they're going to go. So they kind of consider Tucker part of that woke right. They black pill, they doom all the time. They don't trust Trump. They turn on Trump easily when they don't like something, you could say. They're not woke in the sense that they're identity in left-wing politics, but people don't consider them conservative. Okay. And then you have the Trump loyalists. Depending on who you talk to, some say Tucker may be more conservative leaning now, but people don't really trust him because he hasn't really been someone who's been consistent over the years. He kind of flip-flops. So, yeah, there's problems you could say with Tucker, but okay. Conservative is supposed to be about conserving American identity and our rights as Americans, as our Constitution. That's what's supposed to be what conservative means, conserving the family. And in our culture, there's no one, I would say, that's talked about that more than Tucker has, but somehow he's not conservative. So, I don't know. I don't know what that even word means anymore. It seems to be just because it seems like if you're not loyal to Israel, you don't think Israel's our greatest ally, you're gonna be kind of ousted from conservatism and potentially even Christianity, right? Some of the evangelical churches that are kind of bought and paid for, that get kind of pressure to promote Zionist propaganda, as well, also do the same thing. So it's, you have to wonder what's going on here, and clearly people are being paid off. It's not even about Israel, about theology, is another discussion, but it's allowing a more corrupt view of theology to also corrupt our politics. Because, it's like, I don't know. It just, and, people don't like AIPAC tracker because they think that's from a leftist. I mean, I don't know. It could be. I don't know. But, and I do have to take things with a grain of salt. But they can donate to anybody, particularly federal positions. And AIPAC, or Jewish interests, or particularly pro-Israel Zionists, clearly they donate to a lot of politicians, both from the Republicans and Democrats. And, you have to wonder, did Bongino take AIPAC money or whatever lobbying group to basically shill against the Epstein files? And clearly the writing seems to be more on the wall that he's the one that really is being paid off more than Tucker has. Because let's be honest, I mean, is it possible Tucker, everyone accuses him of being kind of a foreign agent of Iran, Russia, and China, and at least Russia, particularly Iran and Qatar. That seems to be the three. I'll take back China. I don't remember hearing about China, especially if Tucker's pretty anti-China, but and he is not pro-China, despite what people say. But Iran, Russia, and Qatar, or particularly, are the agents that they say Tucker works for. He's like a foreign agent. It's like, really? How can you be a foreign agent of 3 different countries? And plus, it's like he's anything but American, because he won't shill for this war or this conflict. And he's not bought. Pretty much, you can't really buy Tucker. Everyone claims that he's bought and paid for. I don't think Tucker's bought and paid for. I don't think he had anything to gain out of it. And if for someone that's already gained it all, being kind of in the media circle, why would he sell this country out just to give Trump the finger? It makes no sense to me. Anything's possible, but I don't see it from Tucker being the person he is. I guess, because people can be deceiving, I guess anything's possible. I'll give it any possibility, but I just don't see it. For Bongino, I'm not going to say he's bought and paid for by AIPAC either, because there's no full evidence either. But, you have to look at the talking points that he uses, and clearly he was paid off by somebody to keep quiet about Epstein and not talk about it. So I think he was blackmailed too. And, and you notice this because look who he goes after for just asking questions or for trying to get to the truth. And, because he's being challenged, he's just kind of punching people back a little bit. And it's like, I'm not an expert on law enforcement, but it's like we're getting no answers. And how can you expect the conspiracy from the right to stop without answers? I don't know. So, I hope the right can unite on what matters most, despite the factions. And I hope this obsession with Israel can end, because this is where it comes down to. It's all because of Israel is why this divide is happening. And the Israel obsessed crowd, and it's from both the anti-Israel right and the pro-Israel right. And they're both making all the media rhetoric about Israel. And so to me, you could argue they're both not America first. They're Israel first in both ways, because of how they make Israel the front and center, when you could be talking about issues here that need to be solved. So, and going back to the factions, what you have right now is people doubling down. They're doubling down harder, either between they call the woke right versus the Trump loyalists, and that's not good. Okay, Trump should not be deified, which there are some that do. I do think that when Trump had that miracle, and I don't believe it was staged. That's stupid. I don't think you can stage something like that. I believe it's a miracle. I do believe that Donald Trump, because he survived that, I do think there are people out there who think because Trump almost got killed, you can't criticize him. There are those there's that faction that's growing that, and I'm seeing that online. I'm not saying that's where it's coming from, but it's like, how dare you criticize the guy who took a bullet for us? It's like, and it's really toxic to the conservative movement with this faction of, and Trump's a man. We should not be obsessed over a man like this. Whether, and this goes for the constant hate Trump people all the time. They're the worst still, of course. But you have the people on the pro-Trump that it's like they won't criticize Trump over anything. And you're seeing that online. And it's not good. They're not giving the information. And they're giving people false hope. And that's not good for the country. So, we have to stop this Trump loyal. To me, supporting Trump, we should try, for those who supported him, and even if you're not happy with him, you voted for him. So, we kind of have to trust the process and what happens, and all you can do is pray. So if you're upset at what he's doing, pray about it. That's where trust comes in, and, that's where our faith needs to be, is in God and not man. But I'm not happy right now, and it's just and if you look at Bongino's attack on, going back to Bongino a little bit, his attack on Tucker and his brother, it's clear like slander and clear like just smearing, and it's just like, and clear like, or more clear like just personal attacks, and that's not good. And we should know better too, especially for those who supposed to believe in dialogue. If Bongino really believes he's wrong, why doesn't he interview Tucker? That's the problem. I've never, with the exception of Crowder, there's no one else that has disagrees with Tucker on a lot. Say, hey, come in on my show and let's talk. Why do you believe the way you do? No one tries that because they don't want to know, because they want to keep the image. So their audience and the older voters will hate them. They want people to hate. This is a faction of the factions trying to pit each other against each other. You have the left, the media does it through the left and the right, but you have within the right just fighting each other. And that's a problem. And it will cost us midterms. And deep down, they're trying hard. There's a power grab. We're in the middle of a power grab, and this really is about trying to stop Vance. I don't know I don't know what Bongino's view on Vance is. I think he likes Vance, but I do think he leans more towards Rubio, the more neocon version, and I do, especially with what's going on, he's probably being pressured to, and they. They're trying to stop Vance. They don't want Vance. In fact, Vance and Rubio is a kind of I guess you could say, a compromise ticket that could maybe please both factions. But no, they don't. The neocons do not want Vance because he likes Tucker. They're friends. I guess you can't be friends with somebody and disagree. And well, Tucker, and because Vance doesn't have those neocon views. I don't think Bongino's even a neocon. So I will make sure I understand that. But it's still terrible what I'm seeing here with that. And with him just attacking Tucker like that, it's just not good. So this has to stop. And, I would caution you guys to really take who you listen to with a grain of salt. That goes for all of us. Because they're just trying to make you mad so you don't think. So anyway, hope you like this video. And if you do like this video, please let me know what you think. What happened to Dan Bongino? Let me know what you think happened. I expect the comments to be respectful without attacks. And if you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. The America First Pill channel out.